Hello everyone. Many people today are worrying about the humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip and about the Israeli blockade over the Gaza Strip. Many people demand that Israel would lift off its blockade over the Gaza Strip. Now, what people doesn't understand that Israel does send humanitarian aid to Gaza. In fact, Israel sends every week 15,000 tons of humanitarian aid to Gaza, and it's also pay on its own expense gas, electricity, water, and petrol, dollars and shekel to Gaza. Now, the Gaza and Egypt border is open most of the day of the week, and pretty much every product, including luxury products, go through there. The Gazan also have a very prosperous industry of underground tunnels that transfer all sorts of products through there, including weapons, unfortunately. Now, if they're going to have cement, which Israel doesn't allow to transfer to Gaza, they can have a big highway, underground highway, that they can transfer tanks and other weapons from Iran to Gaza. Now, what Israel is doing when it's stopping ships to freely dock at Gaza, it's stopping arms and missiles from reaching Gaza, because if Iranian missile will fall to the hand of Hamas, they will fall on the same day. They're gonna fall on Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, the Israeli major population center, and this is simply something that have to be avoided of. Now, you may doesn't know that, but Hamas is an extremist Islamic terror organization sponsored by Iran. Just like Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran in Lebanon, Hamas is its proxy in Israel. In fact, last week, Abu Mazen, the leader of the Fatah movement in Judea and Samaria, called the Hamas growing power in Judea and Samaria that it's like the Palestinian people is hijacked. It's like an airplane hijacked by the Iranian, because he acknowledged that Hamas is an Iranian proxy. Now, Hamas is responsible for numerous barbarian terror attacks against Israeli civilians, especially the bus suicide attacks and the missiles and mortar rocket attacks over Israeli civilians. Now, up until now, the missiles that Hamas had like a very short range, and they harm small Israeli settlements like Sderot, which is not that dense and it's not that big, but missiles, long-range missile in the hand of Hamas can fall off Tel Aviv, which is much more densely populated and have much more high high building populated with hundreds and even thousands of people. So even if just a few missiles can cause great damage and great loss of life in the Israeli side, and this is something that simply can't be allowed and can't be tolerated. Some people say that maybe there should be some international supervision over ships coming to Gaza. Well, maybe that can work, or maybe it can't. I mean, ever since the Second Lebanon War in 2006, there is an international peacekeeping power in Lebanon that's supposed to stop Hezbollah from arming itself. But it seems, according to the latest news, that Hezbollah has been arming himself with Iranian and Syrian missiles, and right now we have more missiles than most countries in the world. So it's clearly that the international peacekeeping power doesn't have the real power to stop a terrorist and extreme organization to arm itself. And this is why only Israel can stop and must stop ships from any ship to come to Gaza without inspection. And by the way, the Helsinki marine law does allow Israel to attack any vessel that try to breach a marine blockade, especially if it refused to be inspected by the Israelis, which is the same situation like there was with the Turkish Marmara terrorist ship. And this is why Israel does take care of the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, which is clearly on the head of Hamas and not Israel, because Hamas is the one responsible for that. If Hamas want to stop the Israeli blockade, you have to do two things, very, very easy thing. First, you release Gilad Shalit, which is a friend of mine, and the second thing is you recognize Israel, and that's very, very easy thing to do. You simply stop to try to destroy Israel and the Jewish people, because the Jewish people have a right to live in this world just as the Muslim have, and the Jewish people nation, their homeland is in Israel, whether you want it, whether you believe in that or whether you don't believe that, whether you acknowledge that or not. This is their home, this is their nation, and you can't deny that. You can call and yell until tomorrow, but it won't help, because it doesn't change the truth. And as long as Hamas doesn't acknowledge that, I don't see any reason for Israel to lift its blockade, and will continue until Hamas will fall down. And it will fall down, because Iran is also falling down. Alright, so shalom.